Hey, what's up, everybody? Ralph here. So today's topic, I want to talk to you guys about credit card spending versus cash spending, right? Because we understand when it comes to spending, we know that spending cash is usually your best bet. But if you're someone that's responsible and you're good at leveraging debt, then it may make more financial sense to use a credit card. Obviously, assuming if you're making sure you're paying off the balance every month and avoiding those interest charges. Also, when it comes to deciding what credit card, you want to make sure you also know what kind of features it has to offer, right? Because a lot of things that I'm gonna be talking about, it depends on what kind of features these credit cards have. So that's something when you're looking for a credit card, you want to make sure these features are offered in these credit cards. Okay. So, and when I talk about cash, obviously I'm referring to cash, checks, and also debit cards, which is pretty much cash in the form of a card. So I'm going to be comparing these things to, the cash method in terms, and also the credit card method. So the first thing I'm going to go for is going to be cash. Okay. So the first thing when it makes sense to use cash is when it comes to bills or purchases that charge a fee. Like for instance, I bought some windows for my house that I was going to put in, and the lady, when she told me that when it came to making a purchase, she said that you can use credit card or cash. Just understand that if you're going to use the credit card, there's going to be a fee, and I think it was about like 3%. That's going to be charged if you use the credit card. So obviously I went with the check, and I don't like using check. I usually don't like using cash, checks, or anything like that. Credit card is usually my go-to, but obviously in certain instances, some businesses you require either a check or they use any form of cash payment, and you have to do what's required. So and for that instance, I used a check because I wanted to avoid that 3% charge from using a credit card. So any because even when it comes to like making payments on like I think utility bills, I think they don't allow you to use credit cards. If you do use a credit card, they charge you the fee. So any instance where you have to use where you're getting charged a fee, you want to avoid using a credit card, and obviously you're going to have to use the form of payment that that they require to avoid that fee. All right, so that's number one. Number two is paying off debts. All right, so when you're paying off debts, you don't want to have to put one debt onto another debt like a credit card, and because obviously when it comes to credit cards, like that's going to carry a higher interest charge, a higher APR, and obviously credit cards are one of the worst debts to have, especially if you're not paying that balance off every month. So if you're going to pay a debt, you want to make sure you have the cash to pay off that debt instead of using a credit card, because that's not going to do any good from bringing one debt to another debt. Because I think sometimes you have these medical bills, and a lot of people like to use the credit card. But and that's okay if you have a medical bill and you have a medical debt, and you have a credit, you want to use the credit card. That's okay as long as you're paying it off within the time frame where you don't have to get charged that interest. That interest charge. So you want to make sure if you're going to use that credit card, make sure you pay within the time. But usually, if you have the cash, just pay off that debt with the cash. Right? That's your best bet. If you got any type of debt, make sure you're using cash, because obviously putting on anything else like a credit card, you're going to just incur a higher interest charge, especially if you don't pay that balance off in your next billing cycle. And the third one is like small everyday purchases. Now, obviously, people like to buy coffees and little things all the time, which isn't bad. If you're going to buy these things, that's fine as long as you're making sure you're paying off the balance every month. But the thing is, a lot of people get caught up in making these small little purchases because like, oh, it's $5 here, $6 here. That's nothing during the day, but these things add up every day. All right, so you want to be careful because these things add up, and if you're not paying your balance off every month, you're going to incur interest on these small little payments. So I don't want to tell people not to buy their coffees or these little payments here and there. You just want to make sure you're aware of that. You want to go outside your budget because it's easy to get caught up with these purchases, especially when they're so small. Like it's like $5 here, $6 here. That's not going to be that bad, but they add up over time, especially if you're not making sure you're paying off these purchases every month. So you want to make sure you're being careful with that. So these are the three things that when it comes to using cash, these make sense to use cash instead of credit card. Now we're going to go flip over to when it makes sense to use credit cards, all right? So the first one is price protection. Now this is obviously depending on your credit card. You want to make sure your credit card has this feature, okay? So when it comes to price protection, the way this works is, let's say you make a purchase on an item, and they say a couple of weeks later you find it was bought at you see it for another cheaper, more affordable price or cheaper price. What you can do is you can call up your credit card company and say, hey, I seen the same item for $5 less. What they'll do is they'll reimburse you the difference. So that's a good thing, that when it comes to these price protections, like a lot of credit cards have these features. I'm not sure how many people actually use them. I've never used it, but I guess some people, they have these offers, these features on the credit cards. So if it's something that does happen to you, you want to make sure that your credit card has this. So at least, if you see something, that's so much price, or whether it's online or in a store, you can at least get reimbursed the difference for that product, right? So second one is extended warranties for electronics. One of the biggest ripoffs, one of the biggest scams is buying warranties on certain items, because the one thing you need to understand is a lot of these electronics that you have, they have already like a 1-year manufacturer's warranty, so you're already covered. But the thing is, they sell you these other extended warranties because they know it's extra money that they're making. You're thinking, oh, just something might happen to the product that you're buying. But usually, more times than not, that doesn't happen. It's almost like a cost analysis that they're doing. They know that most times the product that you're buying goes past the extended warranty. It's usually okay. And that extra money that you paid on the warranty is just extra money in their pocket. But the good thing about some of these credit cards is, and you want to check your credit card to see if it has this, they already have these warranties built in the credit card. So if anything happens to the product that you're buying, your credit card will reimburse you, or they'll refund you whatever you need. They'll help cover the damage that's onto that product. So it's something that you want to make sure that your credit card offers. All right, so that's just something, like, you don't need to buy extended warranties on these electronic devices. They already come with a 1-year warranty. Plus, if you have a credit card that has warranty already on it, you're covered there. So don't buy these warranties. They're just wasting money. Number 3 is hotel and rental cars. Now, when you're doing the hotels and rentals, they come with usually like a deposit. And it's a pretty large sum. So instead of using your debit card or you putting cash now, it's good to just have that credit card, just for protection. Like any big purchase, I like to make sure I use my credit card. And if there's any issues that you have with the hotel, you can always, call your credit card up and say, oh, you know what, I need a refund because, I didn't get the service, or whatever issue. It's just that credit cards offer you that protection, which is something that I like. So if you like getting a rental car and you got the hotel and they have these huge deposits, you want to make sure using a credit card is a safer bet for you. It's something that I use. That's what I like to use when I either going to a hotel or doing the rentals. It's just a safer bet, and especially if it's a large deposit. Hopefully you have the money in your account already, so you shouldn't be spending money that you don't already have. But I think when it comes to these large purchases, it's probably best. It's a better option. All right. Now the 4th one is international travel. Now for me, I remember going to the UK, and I remember before I took the flight, I had to get some money out in their currency, in pounds, and I hated doing that. So I had a bunch of cash on me, put it away in my pocket or in a pouch or something like that. I hated the fact that I had to do that, and this was back in like 2013 or something like that. But I hated the fact that I had to carry so much cash with me. I wish it was just like you could use a credit card. And I'm pretty sure you could at the time, but I probably didn't have one at that time. But the fact that you can use a credit card now, and the thing is, I went to Europe back in like 2019. And it was great. I had my credit card. It was just easier. It's just so much more convenient. I don't have to worry about fraud. I don't have to worry about having cash on me. I can just go in there whenever a purchase I need to make. Boom, I can just slide the credit card. Now, there are some places that just took cash, so I made sure I have a little cash on me. But the majority of the places, they allow you to use credit card, which is just more convenient and it's safer. And you don't have to worry about fraud. And if there is some type of fraud, your credit card, makes you aware of it. And obviously can get rectified pretty quickly using a credit card. Instead of using a debit card where you're using your own, where you have to worry about your own money being taken out from your account. With a credit card, you're using somebody else's money, and it's much more protection. So if you're traveling internationally, having a credit card is crucial. It's safer. You're protected, and it's just much more convenient, right? Instead of having a bunch of cash in your pocket and paying everything with cash. Now the last one is large purchases. Now when I say large purchases, like let's say you got to buy a sofa or dishwasher, washing machine, it's probably best bet, better way to go by is like use the store credit card. Now I usually don't like to do this because I'm just wary of just having to use like store credit, stuff like that. But if it's something where you're trying to budget and it's a large purchase, then it probably makes sense to use a store credit, because usually they offer like anywhere from 6 to 12 months where you get 0% interest on that purchase. So So as long as you make sure you pay that sofa, washing machine off within the 6 to 12 months, then you don't have to pay any interest on that item. So you want to make sure you're paying it off. Like if you want to factor in your budget, whether you paid in 6 months, 3 months, or whatever time, make sure that you're paying it off within the introductory period, or you're going to be charged the interest fee. So I think if it's a large item, then it probably makes sense. As long as you're, like I said, as long as you're being responsible, use that store credit card, get that 0% interest APR, and budget it in and make sure you pay it within that time period. So that's where it would make sense to use a credit card. So that's all I got for you. For me, like using a credit card, especially you got the reward points as well. So if this should be done if you're someone that's responsible. You know how to leverage debt, and you know how to make sure you're paying off the debt. You're paying that balance off every month. If you're someone that can't manage that money, then obviously you want to be careful and just stick to cash. But if you're someone that's responsible, you know how to leverage debt, and you understand the benefits of using a credit card, then obviously these are things that you can use. These are great uses for credit cards, and these are different. This is how you differentiate between using the best time to use cash as opposed to using a credit card. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you like the content, if you like what you heard today, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, you guys, and if you got a comment or question, make sure to leave a comment down below. All right, so you guys take care and have a good one. Later.